Hey everybody, this is Randy Brown for Vlogging with Brown. Look, I've got about 10 study tips. This goes out to my friends Pixel Protocol, my friend FierceMan26. I'll be taking whatever questions, pardon me, I'll be taking whatever questions you have. But basically, here we go, N4, that's right. So I got 10 basic study tips. And I'll be showing you how I do this stuff, and we'll see how it goes. So now, I should not have started yet, but I'll take you through this. Basically, what I do is, like, when I do a Bible study with somebody, I put, like, let's say the first scripture that I need is Ezekiel 46:19. I put one tab right there, and then I would put Ezekiel 46:16, and then for the next one, I would just, I would put another tab for the next scripture right there, and and I would just keep going on down the line. It just occurred to me that I should have prepared this before I, started, but oh well. Hey, Joey with the letters, what's up? So yeah, so let's say you're studying something, and what you want to do is you want to put the first Post-it at the top, and then as you're answering the questions, just put Post-its down the side. Now, let's say, why is my Mamie sleep off? I don't know. But like, what you do is you just, say, the first question is on page 69, put a tab at page 69, then page 89, 39, and just keep going down the thing. Hey, Sharon, I am well, thank you. So, yeah, so basically, if you're reading the back of a book for, like, questions, or back of the chapter for questions, you can just go through, and you put a tab at the top, then another tab, then another tab. And what I like to do is I do Bible studies with multiple people. So, all my Bible study scriptures that I'm doing with Jim will be all in pink. All the Bible studies that I'm doing with Billy will be in green. So, like, when I open my Bible, I know exactly whose scriptures is pertaining to who and stuff like that. So, next up is highlighters. Like, I have tons of colored highlighters. And the thing that's cool about colored highlighters is that you can color code your notes. Like, for example, let's say you have, like, something you want A, B, and C points on. Well, red could be for point A's. Blue could be for point B's. Cheyenne could be for point C's, and so on and so forth. What if you're colorblind? Well, if you were colorblind, then I would use underlining. And if you're colorblind, you can still see color. You just can't differentiate them all. So I would find a color that you can see as long as, like red and green colorblind, you can make out some colors. So you want to figure out which colors you can use and which colors you can't. So now number 3, and I forgot to set the timer. I'm going to set this timer for 40 minutes, and I recommend if you don't have an egg timer, definitely get your hands on one, because these are invaluable. My third tip, the first one was Post-its. Second one was color-coded highlighters. 3 is, here's what you want to do. You want to give yourself extended break times. You want more play than you do work. Okay? Now, and this works for me, like last year's of high school, last year's of college, I aced almost all of my classes. And the way I did it was I had extended break periods. I'll get to that, Joey, with the letters. Maybe this is a better question for when you're done, but what if you are easily distracted and start to study? I'll get back to that. Actually, you know what? I'll cover that right now. Don't multitask. Don't multitask. And, a lot of people say, you should listen to music while you study. That can distract you too. So I would say if you're studying, make it you and your book, and that's it. I mean, if you have to write some notes, write some notes down. But yeah, you want to cut out all distractions. And I do realize it is tough because you got phone calls, you got people coming at your door all the time. But what I would do is, if you have a cell phone, I would put the cell phone on vibrate. And I wouldn't even listen to any music. I wouldn't have the TV going on in the background. I find these all do distract me a lot. So unless what I'm learning is on the TV, I shut the TV off. Unless I'm listening to an audio tape that, helps me remember and memorize stuff, I shut that off. So, you really want to block out every conceivable distraction that you can when you can. But again, I'm going to hold off answering questions until I get this done. So extended breaks. Now, what you want to do, let's say you've got 8 pages to read and you've got a business week to do it, so 5 days. Now, what I did on my driver's test is I didn't take the book and try to plow through the entire book in one go. That would not be good. So when I took my driver's test, it was about 11 or 12 chapters long, and I had around 30 days. So basically what I did is each 1 or 2 days, I would read a chapter and I would study it and I would go over it as much as humanly possible. And, I would just divide up the days. So, I mean, if you had 12 chapters and you spent 2 days on each chapter, that comes out to 24 days. So, and now, since you only spend a short time on just one chapter, it really takes the time to sink in there. I know a school teacher that plays relaxation music background in class. She says it helps calm the students. That is possible. And I agree with that, and I'm not going to argue with that. I'm just saying, for me, anything is distracting for me. So I get easily distracted. That's good for her and her students, but I have ADD and ADHD. I can't take anything at all. So first stream I've commented in. Hello, Randy. Hello, Darth. And shout out to Sharon L. Shout out to Darth Bain. Shout out to Joe with the letters. Shout out to N4. Okay, so now again, if you got to study something like in 5 days and you've got 8 pages to read, I would read 2.5 pages every day and then make that your goal. Because number one, you want to have goals and you want them to be quantifiable. You want to, the worst thing that you can do, here's the worst thing that you can do. If you have a week to study, the worst thing that you can do is think, oh, I got this. I got this for 5 days. And then on the 6th day, cram. And then on the 7th day, study. That's the worst possible thing you could do. You're not going to retain it. It's going to go in one ear and out the other. So whatever you do something every day. Please do something every day. Okay. So 4. Now this goes out to I believe it was Pixel Protocol said this. He's doing something where he has to do a lot of like math and numbers and coding and letters and stuff. Here's the thing. When you write out your numbers, write them legibly. Like I'm out in like bars and clubs and stuff like that, and I meet women and I, ask them for their numbers. And then the next time I see them, they're like, why didn't you call me? You're a jerk. And you know why that is because I let them write the number down and they didn't write the number legibly. Now, they may have done that on purpose. I don't know. But, sometimes they'll write a number and then I'll get home and I'll look at it and I'm like, is that a 7, 2, 6, 9, or 1? And, if you're studying for a math test and you're writing it down from the book or you're writing it down from the board, you want to make sure that you have the right numbers because you could be doing your math exactly correct. You just might have written down the number that looked like a 9, but it was actually a 6. So whenever you copy down numbers into your notes, make sure that you write them legibly. Okay. Now 5, this is a big one, and this correlates to with what I have in my hand right now. Use index cards. Now, here's something that I do. I'll tell you 2 scenarios where I use index cards. Number one scenario is I'll have a book, and what I'll do is I'll go through the book once, and then I'll highlight everything that's important. And then on a second pass, I'll take everything that I highlighted, and I will put them on an index card, and I will carry them wherever I go. So now, what does this do? This is like having the best bits of a book everywhere you go, And, like, if you got some dead time or, like, dead space on, like, a bus, or if you've got some dead space, waiting for class to start, or dead time just doing this or doing that, or, waiting at the supermarket, or, waiting for your taxes to, somebody to file your taxes, you can be flipping through the best parts of the book, and you can be learning without actually having to carry a huge book with you. So, and step 6, this one kind of correlates with what I said before, and it's going to correlate with something I said at the beginning. What you want to do is you want to use milestones. Now, like I said, let's say you had 10 pages to read in 5 days. Well, 10 divided by 5 is 2. So what your goal should be every day for the next 5 days, if you have to read 10 pages, read 2 pages a day, every day. And this will keep you from doing, the cardinal sin, which is, it'll keep you from cramming the very last day and not learning anything. Because, you can go in and you can be like, did I do my 2 today? Yeah, I did my 2 today. Okay, I'm good. I can do this. And like I said, 2 is a small number, and it's not going to overload you. And that's one of the biggest things that can hurt you if you try to study that way. The thing that kills most people is burnout. Some people will try to study everything the very first day, and then they'll get totally burned out, and they'll say, I'll get to it later. And then they have a bunch of dead time. They let 3 or 4 days go by, and then on the last day, boom! It's now I gotta cram and I gotta do all this, and I know it's gonna be boring. So use milestones. Now whatever your deadline is going to determine your milestones. Like in the example I just gave you, if you had to read 10 pages in 5 days, well, you would need to read 2 pages every day to get all the necessary information. But let's say you had 10 business days to read 10 pages, then guess what? Now all you need to do is read 1 page a day, because you got 10 days for 10 pages. Okay. And if anybody has any questions, please go ahead, shout them out and let me know, and I'll try to answer them the best I can. Number 7, and I got an anecdote for this one. This one is called spaced repetition. Now, me and my mom, we go to the mall sometimes. She goes off into Macy's and Dillard's, and I go off into the food court. Just doing random stuff. Getting some food, just chilling out with people. And like, I came back to Macy's, and Mom was at the kiosk, and she was checking out her stuff. And Mom looked like she was having a problem. So I go, "Hey, Mom, what's up?" And she goes, "Randy." And I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "What's my phone number?" I'm like, "Mom, you don't know your phone number?" And my mom is a smart cookie. She's very smart. She's very cool. She keeps a clear head, but she doesn't know her phone number. Now, why is that? Well, the reason that is that she doesn't call herself a lot. So she doesn't use that number a lot. So it doesn't stick in her head. And I know tons of people who have cell phones and they don't even know what their number is because they don't need to call themselves. Now, me, I call the house all the time to check to see if she's okay. I check to, see if I can use the car, check to see if I can, if she has anything she needs to do before I go out and sing karaoke. But what you want to do, here's what spaced repetition is. If you really want to lock something into your long-term memory, what you've got to do is you've got to study it. Here's a good schedule for you. If you need to remember something and lock it in, and it's something that you're going to be, like having to know over the course of a year, what you do is you want to study that thing twice on the first day that you learn it. You want to learn it once the next 5 days, study it one time the next 5 days. Then you want to do it 3 times over the next week, twice the 2 weeks after that, and then at the end of the month, do another repetition. Now, what this will do, this is called spaced repetition, and this will lock it into your mind, because, like I've put in my Amazon password 50 million times. I could tell you what my Amazon password is right off the bat. It's very simple. I'm not going to say it, of course, but I remember it because I put it in so many times. If I only, did my Amazon password once in 2 years, of course I'm not going to remember that because memory is like a muscle. The more you use the muscle, the stronger it gets. So if you're memorizing something a few times, like if you're memorizing something 20 times a month, you're going to remember it. And it's going to lock it in there, and it's going to, be in your head. Okay? So I'm going to go do a quick review of what I did already. What you want to do is you want to use Post-its, use colored Post-its, and then you can go right to the page. Color-coded. Also, there's something I wanted to tell you about color-coded highlighters. I also have other systems, like I'll use blue for buzzwords, and I study language patterns, which are like little fill-in-the-blank patterns. So for patterns start with P, and purple starts with P, so I use purple to highlight the patterns. And then for examples or anecdotes, I use green. So, as I'm flipping through my books, I know exactly where the buzzwords are. I know exactly where the language patterns are. If I wanted to look up, an account or a story somebody gave, I could immediately look for that. So, like I said, extended breaks. You want to prevent yourself from burnout. And along with the extended breaks, what I would do is I would give yourself James Martowinski. Hey, what's up? How you doing? Yeah, doing good. So for extended breaks, you want to give yourself 20 to 25 minutes of break study time, and then give yourself around 30 to 40 to 50 minutes of break time. So you want 20 to 25 minutes of study time, 40 to 45 minutes of break time. And what this will do, this will prevent you from burning out. And a great way to keep track of this is the egg timer. Okay? And like I said, once set it for 25 minutes, and then when you, I will stream more, James. I will do that. I'm thinking about streaming Mondays and Tuesdays. I'm not sure. I'm still working out the schedule, but we'll see. So yeah, so you want to do a short amount of study period and a long amount of breaks. So set the egg timer for 25. When it goes off, set it for 45. Go do your thing, and when it rings again, set it for 25. Do another story, another study period, and then keep that rhythm. So, and then, like I said, 5 index cards. Whatever you highlight in a book, put it down on an index card and carry those along with you. So it's like carrying the best parts of the book right in your pocket. Then set milestones. We talked about that. You know, if you have to read 10 pages in 5 days, you do 2 pages a day. If you have to read 10 pages in 10 days, you would do 1 page a day, so on and so forth. And then here's number 8, and I've got a little notes on the back of this. Is what you want to do is you want to reward small achievements. You know, make them small rewards for small achievements, and then big rewards for big achievements. Now, I wrote a novel. I didn't publish it yet, but I wrote it as a part of this thing. Oh wait, do you suggest using flashcards app or on the computer? I would say if you can bring the flashcards app with you. If it's on your phone, I would definitely say that, because I mean, not a lot of people can bring their computer around wherever they go. I use paper because here's the thing with paper: you don't have to worry if the battery's going to die. That's the thing about paper. No matter what situation you're in, you don't have to worry about it. For the most part, you don't have to worry about it getting wet. You don't have to worry about losing it. Yeah, and like I said, you don't have to worry about battery power. So yeah, Fear said that paper sucks in phone is better. Should I take Fear's advice? That is your prerogative. And like I say, different people have different study habits. So whatever works best for you. You know, like I would try phone for a week and see how that works for you. And then, like I said, I use paper because I don't want to have to worry about the battery. So now what you want to do is you reward small steps. So like, let's say you were on that regimen of reading 2 pages a day. At the end of the 2 pages, give yourself a little reward. And I've got my top 10 rewards on the back of this. How do you keep yourself focused and not feel lazy? I feel like that's my biggest flaw. I will get to that. It goes back to some of the other things. I'll address that right now, James. So you say, how do you keep yourself focused and not feel lazy? I feel like that's my biggest flaw. Well, basically, again, like what I said, watch this video again because I talk about this. What you want to do is you want to keep your study periods short but frequent, and you want to keep your break periods big. Now, like I said, what I do, should I close the other windows around me and just keep the browser window on the videos? If you want to, yeah. Like I talked to Sharon a little while ago, and I said to Sharon, don't multitask. Whatever you do, do not multitask. Sharon says, you know, there's a teacher in Australia who likes to, you know, use music to calm her students. That works for them. I can't do that. If I have music going, my studying is going to be going to the pace of the music. You know, one piece of music that I like to listen to is Sherlock Holmes' Game of Shadows music by Hans Zimmer. And like as I do that, I notice that my pace seems to be going exactly to the music. And you know, sometimes in the Sherlock Holmes thing, the pace will go really slow. And then I notice when the pace speeds up, I'm like trying to write and everything and doing all this, and it really affects me. So my biggest tip to you, James, would be don't multitask. Shut out every possible distraction that you can shut out. You know, all you want is your book, your notes, and that's it. And like I said, different things work for different people, but that's what works for me. Like I said, something totally different may work for you. I'm just telling you what works for me. So, and in my last days of high school and my last days of college, I got nearly straight A's. So, You know, for some reason, I always seem to do really well at the end of the semester. So, number 9. If I force myself to study stuff, will my work ethic change? Yakov, you don't need to be studying. I actually do study a lot. I study the Bible, and I do study a lot of other stuff, you know, like YouTube videos and conversational tactics and stuff like that. So, surely the education system has changed. Yes, I agree with you wholeheartedly there. It has definitely changed, but some study tips, you know, it's kind of like the pencil. You know, you think like we would have something infinitely better than the pencil right now, but when you need to take a quick note and you don't have a computer or your battery's dead, pencil still comes in handy. So some of these techniques, even though some of them may be a little bit antiquated, a lot of this tech stuff is still relevant today. So I shout out to Yakov Petrovich Golyakin Sr. Thanks for the good question. I appreciate it. Do you suggest learning, sir? You're going to have to type that again, James. Do you suggest learning cursive? Cursive? Uh, Here's the thing. Unless you're going to be writing a letter, I would say no. Except for signing checks or like signing a like check at like a restaurant. I found that cursive, for the most part, has been useless. I mean, if you're writing journals and you're hoping someone to read them and you really want them to go, hey, this guy has nice penmanship, you know, yeah, maybe. But cursive, for the most part, is, you know, unnecessary. And plus, a lot of people just type stuff out anyways. So, I don't know. Um, I would say no. That's just me. I'm not saying my opinion is better than anybody else. But cursive has not really benefited me or affected or impacted my life. Uh, yeah, I think cursive is dying out. I agree with you wholeheartedly there. Okay, so number 9 is I never met man. Yeah, like a lot of cursive takes a while to get the hang of it. So number 9 is. Oh wait, before I go over number 9, before I go over number 9, like I said, what you want to do is reward small steps, and here are a few of the things that you can reward yourself. This is my top 10 list of things that you can, small rewards that you can reward yourself at the end of a study session. Number 1 could be your favorite candy bar. If you're trying to lose weight, probably not the best. Number 2, you can get yourself a DVD, or you know, you can like buy an episode of your favorite show on whatever. 3, if you like Kindle books, you can buy yourself a nice $2 to $3 Kindle book, you know, and just take it and read it. Number 4, you can go out to the movie theater and go see a nice movie. You know, Avengers Infinity War is out. I think Black Panther's still out. Solo's still out. Number 5, you can get a good smoothie. If you're trying to lose weight, you can make it like a protein smoothie or, you know, a health shake or something healthy like that. Number 6, if you're still the kind of guy or gal that still collects toys, or if you're young and you're into toys, you know, maybe you could work out, you know, deal with the parents. Like, if I study this much for however long, you know, you can get me a Ninja Turtle or whatever. Number 7, this is kind of a big reward because video games are really expensive nowadays. You could try video games. You know, get yourself a video game, or maybe give yourself some video game time to relax. 8, this is a personal favorite, but again, probably not so good for someone who's trying to lose weight. But you can go to your favorite restaurant. You know, I like Ruby Tuesdays. There's a place called The Brewery. There's lots of good wing places around here. So after I studied, if I want to like treat myself, I'll like go out and get some hot wings or something like that. Number 9, actually, a lot of these are food, but 9 is ice cream, and I'm going to have some after this because my AC is still. Can you reward yourself with watching TV? Yes, definitely. And that is one of my top methods for having a break. Yeah, reward yourself watching TV. Like I said, get an egg timer and set it for a specific amount of time because you don't want to overwatch stuff and then be like, oh man, I only got 25 more minutes to study and then I got to go to bed. So like keep an eye on your and yes, Joey with the letters, you can reward yourself by watching a random drawing. This is true. That's true. So yeah, number 9 is ice cream. And then 10 is you can reward yourself with coffee or energy drinks. And, that is my reward for just getting out of bed because I am a zombie in the morning. And if I do not have at least 2 glasses of something caffeinated, I cannot get up and or function in the morning. So those are my top 10 rewards. Like I said, candy bar, DVD, books, go see a movie, smoothie, toys, video game, eating out, ice cream, or coffee or an energy drink. What kind of coffee is the best to reward yourself with? Well, Starbucks does have really good coffee. Whenever I get a Starbucks coffee, it's almost always caramel or vanilla mochaccino, and they come in like nice little bottles. And what's cool about those bottles is, you can fill them up with water later, and then put them in the refrigerator. And then when you got to go, you got like a nice glass container that isn't going to break in your backpack or your satchel or whatever you have. So, and number 9, there is a caveat to this one, but here I go. Number 9 is use leverage, and a lot of you might not know what leverage is. Basically, what leverage is basically making a bet with somebody that you'll do something. That's essentially, that could be like a cut and dry definition of how it goes. But let's say that you're studying for your science class. Number 9.1, hire Jessie Bell Hill as my tutor. Okay, bad joke. No, I think Jessie Bell Hill would be a very good tutor. She's very pretty, so I would pay attention to whatever she said. So, see, this is how I get off track. Yeah, humor is good. I think, people should use humor a lot more often, especially when somebody's depressed, because, the last thing you want to do is make a depressed person more depressed. Get them laughing. It's a lot better. So, but yeah, number 9 is use leverage. And like I said, this is basically making a bet with somebody in order to do something. And this is the reason that my friend John Fears is amazing, because, I made a few bets with other people about doing something, and they were like, you know what, Randy, you don't need to pay me that $20. They said that like 2 or 3 days before I was going to finish the bet, and I totally lost all motivation. The good thing about Fears is that Fears is kind of a hard-headed guy, and if I don't come through, he's going to call me on it, and he's not going to let me off the hook. So when you make a bet with somebody, and in the instance of this like hypothetical science project where you got to read 10 pages in 5 days, what you want to do is, you want to make a bet with him that I'll read this many pages, and that if I don't read this many pages, I'm gonna pay you $10. And if you do this, make sure it is something that you really are sure you can do, because the last thing you want to do is pay somebody an amount of money that you don't. Yeah. Yeah, and 4 I have. But what you want is somebody who's not going to let you welch. and Fears does not let me Welch on my bets. And he has gotten a lot of DVDs because sometimes I've not come through, but most of the time I do come through. And I think I have about a 15-to-4 ratio. So I got him 4 DVDs, and then like I came through on my bets 15 times. So that's a good 75%. See, leverage works, you know. And then last, and this is if you want to be a writer, this last one is crucial. Now, number 10. What would you do if you got a 12-page essay due in 2 days? Well, James, what you need to do if you've got a 12-page essay due in 2 days is, like, let's break it down into small, manageable chunks. If you have to do a 2-page essay or a 12-page essay in 2 days, that means you've got to do 6 pages in 2 days. So basically, here's what you can do. Now, if you could, James, tell me how many pages can you write in an hour? Because let's say that it takes you an hour to write 1 page. If it takes you an hour to write 1 page, what I would do is I would take 3 hours and do, if you would have to do it 3 pages. Hold on a second. I'm having a brain aneurysm. Let's say it takes you 1 hour to do 2 pages. You want to set aside 3 hours of the day where you can write 2 pages an hour, and that'll give you 6 pages in 1 day. And then the next day, do the same thing, and that'll give you 12 pages at the end of the period. I can try to write maybe 2 pages an hour, but again, the problem is I find myself on YouTube. But if I try really hard, I could write a lot, but 100 effort into it. That's my flaw. You got this, Randy. Stay calm and cool. I will. Now, here's the thing, and this 10th one is directly correlates to what you're talking about. And the 10th one is you want to do something right away. And this will cure writer's block if you do it. Now, whenever I had to not cram for a test, but whenever I had a test coming up or something, I would commit myself to writing 4 sentences of an essay. Now, 2 things are going to happen. Either A, you'll think, wow, these 4 sentences were really easy. Maybe I'll do these 4 sentences now, and I'll do the rest later. But the second thing that's going to happen, probably going to happen, is you're going to say that, wow, writing these 4 sentences was really easy. Maybe I can write 4 more. And then after you've done that, you're like, whoa, wait, you know what? I got a little bit more in me. You know what? And suddenly you're typing before you even know it. So what you really want to do is, if you're watching right now, which hopefully you are, what I would do is I would, in your mind or maybe like verbally out loud, say, I am going to write 4 sentences right now. Stop watching me, go and write it right now, and then come back. Or if you find that the 4 sentences have kindled your imagination and you're suddenly got it going with the flow, come back to this stream later. It'll be here for you later, and don't worry. So yeah. So like I said, this is I wanted this to be a 45-minute stream. We're at 39:30. So again, I'll go through the top 10 again. So number 1, Post-its. If you got like questions at the back of the chapter, you can leave a Post-it at the top of the page where the first question is, and then leave a Post-it at the bottom of the page. And like I said, this is going to be part 1. I'll do a part 2 to this. And then, after people have watched this a few times, you can, give me like little questions on whatever you want. But so use Post-its, color code your highlighters. So B for buzzwords, green for anecdotes, P for pertinent information, yellow for definitions, stuff like that. 3, you want to give yourself extended breaks. And number 1, if you don't have one of these, you need one of these. You need one of these. They are like $4 at Walmart. Go and get one of these. Now, I use this thing like 500 times a day. Okay, and 4 is if you got math problems or if you're copying some stuff off a blackboard or a whiteboard, you want to write your numbers legibly because you might be doing your math perfectly wrong. You just might have written down the wrong numbers, and that's why you're getting the numbers wrong. 5, use index cards. Go through your book, highlight everything. Then, when you're done with that, go to the book again, put all your highlighted notes on index cards, carry them with you, and it is like carrying the best parts of a book around with you everywhere. What do you suggest for citations and avoiding plagiarism? As far as that goes, James, what I like to do is I was never really good at citations. That screwed me up a lot. But for plagiarism, one tip that I would give you is put the definitions in your own words, and not only will that help you avoid plagiarism, but figuring out how to put it in your own words will help lock it into your brain. Like when I went to film school, they made us memorize the definitions for 3-point lighting. And I can tell you the definition right away. It's key light is what throws most light on the subject. Fill fills in the hard shadows, and backlight separates the subject from the background. So that was my own definition. That wasn't the textbook definition of it, but that's how I remembered it, and I remember all the 3-point in the 3-point lighting. So 6, set milestones. Like I said to James, if you've got to do 12 pages in 2 days, that means if you break it up into those 2 days, you've got to do 6 pages a day. So you need to spend at least an hour doing 2 pages, then another hour doing 2 pages, then another hour doing 2 pages. That comes to about 3 hours, equals 6 pages. And then on the second day, do the same thing, and then you've got the 12 pages done. And then 7 is use spaced repetition. Like I said, James, this might not be able to help you since you're trying to cram something in 2 days. Like I said, cramming at the end isn't, I really wish I would have done this earlier for you. But yeah, cramming at the last instant really isn't advisable. Watch this again, and this will help you avoid that. 8 is reward yourself. Use small rewards. So, like James, at the end of the first hour, you might want to give yourself 30 minutes of game time or 30 minutes to watch whatever show you do. Then do another hour. After that, another 30 minutes. Then after that, another hour. Then another 30 minutes, and you will have clocked in 3 hours of study time. And then you will have clocked in 1 hour and 30 minutes of break time. So that's what I would suggest for you. Number 9. Does the show need to be over 30 minutes? What if it's an hour-long show? Do I stop it at 30 minutes so I don't overwatch waste time? Yes, exactly. This is your taskmaster. If the show isn't over, that doesn't matter. You can get back to it later. And you know what? I set this for 45 minutes, but this will be your taskmaster. When this starts ringing, then it's back to work. Then you set it for another hour, and when it rings, then you can get back to your show. Even if it's an hour-long show, like I said, if you're watching on a Roku box, if you're watching on Amazon or a Kindle or a DVD, the world is not going to end in 3 days. You're going to be able to get back to that show. You always worry about time consumption. Well, that shows that you've got your priorities straight, because using your time wisely is essential. Like I said, my friend Ari, he said, time is money, and I need as much time as humanly possible. And then the last thing is 10, do something small right away. James, yeah, I feel like I never implement them. It's like I always get distracted, like I said. Well, James, so why do I keep saying I'm doing things and don't do them? Well, I think what is happening, James, I think the main problem that you're having is that you feel like you're in overload. And what you need to do is, in NLP, we have this thing called chunking. You want to break things down into small, manageable chunks. So again, if it takes you an hour to write 2 pages, what I would do is, right now, I'm going to end this because I'm already a minute and 20 seconds over time, but I am going to end this right now and just say, tell me, after this stream is done, you're going to go onto your computer, you're going to click off this, go into your word processor, write 4 sentences. Get something down on paper, and I swear to you, every time that I do this, every time I say, okay, I'm just going to write 4 sentences, and if I get that done, that'll just be it. So write 4 sentences, and I can almost guarantee you that you'll be like, well, these 4 sentences was easy. I want to do a little bit more. And then you do a little bit more, and by the time you know it, you're finished. So thank you, Sharon. And I'd like to give out a shout out to everybody in the chat. Thank you to all my 4 viewers. Thank you to Sharon. Thank you to James. Thank you to N4. Thank you, Yakov, for the great questions. And let's see. And thank you, Joey, with the numbers. And thank you, Joey, with the letters. And this is the end of my stream. And my name's Randy Brown for Vlogging with Mr. Brown. And again, take this. I will see you. Plot track. All right, bye.